Typically, when most people think about peace and security, they think about the absence of war or having millions of prisoners locked away and segregated from the rest of society. However, these actions are just in response to a bigger problem, and we propose that instead of attempting to eliminate violence and conflict by trying to contain it, or just simply ignore it altogether, we need to treat it at the source, from within. From Monet's Olympia to Viola's The Crossing, we will display how inner serenity can be achieved so that it may truly make our world one with peace and security. Monet's Olympia is an impressionist piece that, even though a prostitute is depicted, elicits a sense of inner confidence. Through her piercing gaze, we can see that this nude woman has seized control of her life and is now in a position of power instead of her patrons. Through her confidence, a product from within, she is able to manifest her own peace and security in a patriarchal, male-dominated society. Paul Gauguin's The Vision After the Sermon depicts a response to a biblical scene through an almost hyper-real paradigm. However, we are still able to distinguish its fundamental religious message that perhaps the only way to feel truly peaceful and secure is to be closer to God, both in body and, more importantly, in mind. Vincent van Gogh, a post-impressionist painter, suffered from traumatic mental illness that plagued him his entire life. In The Starry Night, he created a dreamlike world that outlined his own struggle to overcome his malady. The village, peaceful and serene, is juxtaposed with the almost turbulent night sky, mirroring his illness. Through this exploration of his unconscious, Van Gogh is able to articulate his struggles and hopefully gain a sense of peace and security from his very troubled life. Gertrude Kayserberg's Blessed Art Thou Among Women portrays a mother's care and nurture with her arm gently placed on her child, almost shielding her from the possible perils that might await her. Through this display of maternal security, the mother allows her daughter to feel protected, knowing she will not be alone when she faces the outside world, thus ensuring a sense of internal peace and security. The Joy of Life is a Fauvist creation by Matisse, of a super-saturated, hyper-real reality that evokes a dreamlike state. The sporadic array of figures recalls the sense of dreams evaporating from our minds quickly upon waking, leaving us with only vague fragments. Even without the complete story, we are still left with a sense of serenity and sanctuary, depicted through everyday actions in life, lying freely on the grass, dancing in a group, or just kissing your lover. Through his exploration of his own unconscious, Matisse is able to use bits and pieces to construct a sense of inner peace through even the most simplistic of actions. Kazimir Malevich's Black Square is a Russian avant-garde piece that is the pinnacle of introspection. Its abstract, simplistic, suprematist nature forces the viewer to interpret the work subjectively and to explore the inner workings of his or her unconscious in the face of utter nothingness. Suprematism elevates itself to a standard of pure art in the presence of what it deems to be inferior, and the ability to duplicate this painting with relative ease gives the notion that the way to achieve peace is a much simpler task than we think it is. Guernica was Picasso's response to the bombing of the Basque town of Guernica, allowing us to view the scale of the anguish and suffering that was incurred. It gives a glimpse into not only the physical ailments experienced, but mental as well. Picasso uses the bull, symbolizing rationality, to try and reason with the foolishness of humanity depicted by the horse. It shows that the only way to end war and prevent its atrocities is to listen to the logical side of your mind, in order to control the irrational tendencies of being human. Only then will we be free from war and truly able to experience peace and security. Dan Flavin's minimalist installation, The Nominal 3, uses fluorescent light to create the opportunity for the viewer to experience light and space differently. The light radiates in space and creates a mesmerizing, almost calming space. The piece speaks to the viewer without words and impacts body and mind with the force of spiritual awakening. Its meditative space allows the viewer to make greater peace within. James Rosenquist's F-111 is an example of American pop art painted during the Vietnam War. The painting shows how the industrial manufacturing complex can be used to mass-produce not only goods, but also war machines. Rosenquist displays how consumer culture and materialism were used to create a sense of inner peace in the U.S. during the height of the Cold War. Bill Viola's The Crossing represents transcendence and internal peace amidst violent outside forces. The natural forces of fire and water simultaneously consume the man until he has disappeared from both screens. Viola captures the spiritual phenomena of the man whose disappearance represents transcendence into his inner consciousness and soul. His artwork displays the importance of internal peace to guide us through external forces we cannot control. Our exhibit on display argues the idea that peace and security is not an external source, but rather an internal one. Instead of attempting to put a band-aid on the issue of violence and conflict, we need to face the issue head-on and find tranquility and safety within ourselves so that it can truly prosper.